Welcome back, everybody. Today we are going to be talking about lots of stuff like constipation and ovarian fluid and all that fun stuff because we are hopping into the egg retrieval. So let's get into it. So the egg retrieval is the process that has to happen for IVF to even take place. You need to retract the eggs in order to be able to mix the egg and the sperm to have an embryo to implant for IVF. So how do you get those? A woman will be put on stimulation medication. So stim meds help obviously stimulate the ovaries so that your body produces more than one follicle. Naturally, in a month, we create one follicle, we release one egg. Well, in IVF, they want you to create lots of follicles so that they can go in and retract lots of eggs. And so you'll take stim meds throughout the month, and then you will do a trigger shot. So you'll give yourself a specific injection at a specific time. The nurse will say at this, specific date and time, you're going to give yourself your trigger shot. And that is the hormone that's telling your body to essentially get ready for ovulation, get ready to release the eggs. And then the next day you go in for your egg retrieval. And so let's talk about what that all entails and things that they don't tell you maybe about your egg retrieval. So when you go in, you have options. You have the option to either be put under anesthesia or not. I was terrified of the idea of a huge needle going into me and being able to feel some of that going on. Obviously they would use some numbing procedures, but I was like, nope, I'm a wimp, so knock me out. So I was under anesthetics, but you don't have to be. And they'll go in and they will take out all of those eggs. But what actually happens is obviously the doctor's going in with a needle and puncturing all of those little follicles around your ovaries. Well, when you're puncturing those follicles with a needle and taking out the egg, all of the fluid that was in that follicle has to go somewhere. And so literally you have all of this fluid then in your body afterwards. And that's the part I was not prepared for. So the number one thing they might not tell you about the egg retrieval is that you are going to be extremely, extremely bloated afterwards. Some people talk about, oh my gosh, before I went in for my egg retrieval, my ovaries just felt huge. That's true if you got a lot of follicles in there. So you're like, I just feel weird. My pelvis just feels big. That's okay, that's normal. But afterwards, you're gonna feel even more big and bloated because all that fluid has just leaked and it's sitting in there, and that's really uncomfortable. And so one remedy is to take lots of sodium. So eat really salty foods, get yourself some McDonald's French fries, whatever it is, but eat lots of sodium to try to help reduce and soak up some of that fluid and that bloating. Whether you're put under or not, obviously there's going to be pain involved. They just went in with a huge needle and took out lots and lots of eggs. And so you are going to have a lot of discomfort and a lot of pressure down there. And the car ride home will likely not be very pleasant. If you were put under anesthesia, hopefully you will just pass right out in the car ride and you won't even feel anything. But if not, and even whether you're awake or not, you're going to just have a lot of discomfort and probably some pain. Kind of like period cramps, but obviously a lot more intense. I assume a nurse or your physician, somebody will tell you this, but especially if you are put under with anesthesia, but either way, there is a very good chance you will be constipated after your egg retrieval. And so you should take a stool softener, right away. And for a while. I was very constipated after mine, and that was honestly creating the majority of my pain was the constipation and being backed up and just not being able to go. That was worse than the actual bloating and discomfort from the egg retrieval, I think. So take a stool softener right away. I don't remember my nurse or my doctor telling me this, but I also was, a little woozy afterwards. But part of their discharge protocol, they should tell you that you really should avoid like submerging yourself in water for a while, like at least a week, if not like 10 to 14 days. So that means like no baths, obviously no hot tubs, no lakes, no getting in a pool. And obviously after your egg retrieval with all that discomfort and that pressure, you're like, man, I would love to take a bath, but you can't. So no baths, no water submersion for a while. Don't want anything getting back up in there and causing infection. Lastly, I hope that a nurse or physician will tell you this ahead of time, but there is the possibility that you could have overstimulation on your ovaries. So ovarian hyperstimulation syndrome, OHSS, where the doctor probably gave you a little too much medication, your ovaries took to the meds really well, and they were overstimulated or hyperstimulated. And so everything we just talked about, the pressure, which feels like gas pain almost, the constipation, the bloating, all of the discomfort is heightened when you have hyperstimulation because it was just too much, and your ovaries are just, holy cow, what just happened? So be prepared that can happen, and your doctor, your nurse, someone should tell you that that's more probable. For example, they pulled 40 eggs from me, and that was a lot. And I could tell that the physician was surprised to get that many eggs. She was like, oh, wow. And so she was like, there's a good chance you'll have some hyperstimulation let down here in the next few days. And I did. And if that happens to you, there is a good chance that they will wait, obviously, to do your transfer. Like, you won't have a fresh transfer, and if you have a frozen transfer scheduled, they will wait at least a month, if not 2 months, to transfer, because they want your ovaries to settle down. And in fact, they might even put you on birth control, because birth control kind of suppresses your ovaries, right? Tells your female functions to kind of lay low. And so they might have to put you on birth control to help your ovaries kind of calm down that month after your retrieval. That's everything I can think of. Maybe some things that you didn't know about the egg retrieval before you go into it. Some things that I wish I would have known before I went into it, because I was very uncomfortable and very taken off guard and very grouchy. Sorry to my husband. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned about the wonderful extraction process of the eggs, the beginning of the IVF process. So, as always, stay awesome.